Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm here at Mining Disrupt in Miami, and we've got some hammer miners. These are a lot like Bitaxes and NerdQ axes, but they've got some technical and philosophical differences. And to help me kind of like run through the lineup and what these ones are like, we've actually got Chris here from Altair Tech to run us through the lineup. So let's go ahead and start here first with the BC01, the entry-level model.
Yep, the BC01 is the single chip entry level model. So it's about 1.5 terahash at about 30 watts, 29 to 30 watts. 1.2 terahash, about 23 to 25 watts.
So it's kind of like your Bitaxe Gamma in a sense, like the equivalent. Same 1370 chip, correct?
Yep, same 1370 chip. This entire hammer lineup is 1370 base, and they will be working on the next 1373 based lineup as well.
S23s.
Yep.
And if we take a closer look at it, I know there are a couple differences, like they use USB-C for power instead of the barrel connector, for example.
Yep, absolutely. So it does have USB-C here, which also gives us a little bit more headroom on your device. It's a 40 watt power supply. So that way you're not maxing out your power supply or burning out your power supply.
And then also these ones are closed source, they're not open source, correct? So there's some philosophical differences with hammers compared to like Bitaxes and NerdQ axes.
Yep, Hammer is considering open sourcing their firmware. That's something their team's gonna have to decide on their own. But yeah, it is closed source for now. They just did a new firmware release for the BC04 as of last night. We're expecting the new firmware update on the BC01, hopefully in the next week or two.
Okay, and then taking a look, I noticed there's also a cover here over the fan as well. Like there's a couple little differences.
Yeah, just slight differences, like fan grill covers, right? If you have little kids or animals at your house, you don't want them sticking their fingers or knocking it over or sticking their tail in it. It also helps keep dust out of the fan, in which will allow your miner to stay as cool as possible for as long as possible.
And then price-wise, how much is the BC01?
BC01 at the moment is $119. And then it does come in a nice retail box for easy shipping, so it doesn't get destroyed or mishandled during shipping.
And then you mentioned the 1373 from the S23. Like there's newer versions of this that are going to be coming as Bitmain releases the chips.
We should have the new version, which is going to be the Thor X1. That should be ready to ship come August 1st. So we're excited to have those come in, and then they're going to be working on the Thor P2 as well. So those will be coming as well.
And for all the different miners that we talk about, down in the description below, I'll have links to all of them so you can go check them out, pre-order, buy, whatever you like. And then moving on next, we have the 4-chip version, the BC04.
So the BC04 is their 4-chip version. A couple differences compared to ones currently on the market. Again, it does have a fan grill cover. This one doesn't today. But the main difference is these do have an Ethernet port, which if you're solo mining, latency does matter. You would hate to solo mine an orphan block. That would be a disaster. The other thing is these do come with a 6-month warranty, which is nice because, as we all know in this industry, things do break, things do happen. So it is nice to have a little bit of reassurance on the product that you are purchasing. We have noticed a little bit that these generally run really cool. I have not seen any overheating problems or anything like that with these devices so far.
I've also noticed your power supply. It's like an upgraded 20 amp power supply, so beefier than a lot of the ones we get from the NerdQ axis.
Yes, absolutely. So it does have an integrated fan. It's a 20 amp power supply. So you could, in theory, you could wire up 2 of these miners to one power supply if you wanted, if you're technical enough. If not, like I said, this power supply, if you touch it, it remains cool at all times. It never overheats.
You mentioned the technical thing. I've kind of found like one of the philosophical differences is like the Bitaxes and the NerdQ axes. They're meant for people like me if you really want to tinker, you want to overclock, you want to play with different cooling solutions.
Yep.
Like you want to do custom firmwares, all that kind of stuff. Versus this is more of just like, you buy it out of the box, you plug it in and you go.
Yeah, so I mean, you could still do some of the physical upgrades, like different coolers, different heat sinks, different fans. You're just not able to modify the firmware or change the firmware in any way. So it's just closed source really on the firmware side.
Something I've been curious about with the closed source firmware, I like the fact that with the open source, we can inspect to make sure that it's working properly, we can verify. Like with closed source, how do we know that it's not maybe like sending out some private information to somebody that we don't want? How do we know that it's all the stuff that we want it to do, that we can verify that it's actually doing that? Yep,
so that's something that we talked to the Hammer team about, and that's why they may consider doing that in the future, just as a peace of mind. But I don't think that they'll, open source their hardware, because hardware is different than firmware, right? A lot of time, money, and effort goes into hardware and manufacturing a product compared to developing firmware.
Sure. I also noticed the design, it looks a lot like a NerdQX++ or something, maybe just like flipped, like mirrored.
Yeah,
Do you know if there's any similar hardware that's used or any open source licenses that need to be followed or?
It's a similar display, similar fan's a little bit thinner. The display is the same display as a NerdQX++, so it's the LilyGo.
The LilyGo, but yeah, different UI. Is it the same like ESP32 and like, is there a lot of similar hardware in there?
So I wouldn't know as far as the firmware side. I know they just did release their Thor OS for their device. So we're gonna have to dive in a little bit more into their firmware side. But as of right now, it's closed source. You kind of have to trust the company a little bit. That comes back to us in vetting the company, right? It took us a long time to even consider carrying Hammer Miner. They released, I believe it was back in September in Dallas. And so we've been watching for 9 months or so of the product, the company, how they're handling themselves, how they handle the community. And we've seen them do pretty well with that. So that's kind of why we're interested in carrying their lineup.
That's good feedback. I'm pretty new to these. I don't know all that much about it. So even last night I've been learning. So like is there any sort of API access that we can get to connect to it?
I will get that answer for you for sure when I get back after the conference. That's something I'm going to have to talk with the Hammer Miner team. But from a little bit of quick research that we did, it's possible.
I know that's maybe a little bit different than like maybe who this product is intended for.
Yeah.
But I think that's a cool capability just to extend the functionality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's two different market bases, right? Like you said, some people really want to tear a machine completely apart. Other people, they just want a quality product for a good dollar per T that is also efficient and be consumer friendly. Like these come in nice retail packaging. You don't have to worry about it getting banged around during shipment and things like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of two different market bases.
Speaking of stuff that can get banged around in shipment, I know if it's maybe not in the packaging, you guys brought over the BC08 here.
Yes.
And I know we had some issues with like transport with that one.
Yes, unfortunately, this one was in my luggage, and luggage carriers were not too friendly to my bag, and they broke one of the pins off, so we can't turn it on today, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the BC08 is their 8-chip model. That's a 12 terahash at about 210 watts. It does have dual Ethernet ports behind the screen here. It has a nice display where you'll be able to see all the information that you want, your hash rate, your pool, everything that you want to see from your miner. I know it does have some other integrations that they're making with their bot, their Telegram bot that they're trying to integrate into the unit. So it's cool to see what the Hammer Miner team is like coming up with.
What would a Telegram bot do?
It just so you can access and talk to your miner remotely, essentially.
Okay, so kind of like a built-in OpenClaw or something that you can just talk to it.
They're working on something. I saw them playing around with it. I'm excited to like dive into it. This is the first time I actually got to see one and hold one in person. I saw it in Dallas, but I didn't dig into it too much. I really wish it was working today, but it is their hydro-cooled unit. Again, it does have Ethernet, which really makes a difference in latency when you are solo mining.
Yeah, so I know there's like the Nerd Octax that people have been working on, and that one has had some reliability issues, especially on the voltage regulator side. I know these are a little bit newer, but what have you seen as far as like not only performance, but also reliability?
So these don't ship until August 1st. Okay. So when that batch comes in, like always, like we do with most of our products, we'll do a teardown, we'll do a full evaluation of the machine, give you guys all the specs, run it through all the modes, do all the testing, and testing and benchmarking, and make sure everybody gets the information that they want before they make a purchase.
Is there anything, I know there's like dual Ethernet ports and there's dual USB-A ports here on the top. Do you know kind of like, is that for extended functionality or for some accessories, or what's the?
So the dual Ethernet port would be for daisy chaining multiple ones together.
Ah, okay, so kind of in and out.
Yep, in and out, and then daisy chain them together.
That's cool. So you got the Wi-Fi, or you've got kind of like daisy chained Ethernet if you've got multiple.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then I know you mentioned August 1st.
Yep.
What's the expected price point for this one?
$669 is what it is, and they should be ready to ship August 1st.
Okay, perfect. And again, I'll put links below for all the different miners. But yeah, thanks for kind of taking the time to show me these different hammer miners and getting me up to speed on a lot of the basics and functionality.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.